Hindi pa pala naka-record.
Ayan, ulit.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat at magandang hapon din sa ating mascom na mascom, di ba? Bago po ako magsimula, gusto ko lang po pasalamatan na kung sino man na naglatag ng mga tula sa workshop kit na ito dahil akmang-akma po. Nasa page 69 po ang Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang. Napakagad na pangitain. Kaya na po magsimula. NPNR. Nagsimula sa isang larawan ng hubad na katawan ang maikli nating usapan. Hi, bati ko, sabay padala ng isang malinaw na kuha. No pic no reply kasi ang nakalagay sa matipid mong profile. Sinunod ko naman at ikaw ay pinagbigyan. Sagot mo ay di nakamtan agad kahit kita ko naman ang bilog na kulay luntian. Online ka, lalaking hubad. Pansinin mo ako, Brad. Other pic, sabi mo bigla. Aking puso ay nagitla, tila napalundag sa sigla. At ako ay nagpalipad ng bagong larawan agad-agad. Sumagot ka naman, nice, chinito. Like your eyes. Kinilig ako bigla. Ay? Ito na ba ang hinihintay na sandali? Bongga ka din. Take mo, balik ko sa kanya. At hindi ko kinaya ang kanyang ipinadala. Adonis, ikaw ba yan? Gusto na kitang matikman. Maghunos dili ka, sa sarili ay ipinaalala. Baka poser lang pala. Alam mo namang nagkalat ang doble kara at huwad. Ngunit nang magpadala ka ng isa pang kuha, pagdududa ko ay naba. Ikaw na ba si Mr. Right, ang true love of my life? Sinukit ko ang pangarap sa tanong na mahirap. Wanna meet up? Nang loob mo ipadala, napasigaw ng Hallelujah. Pahina 74. Pulgada. Tuwing linggo ng gabi, magkasandig ang iyong likod at aking dibdib. 3 pulgadang agwat ng mga pusong iisa ang tibok, iisa ang pintig. Sa gabing magkatabi, nilalaro ang tuwid mong buhok ng antuking kong mga daliri. Katumbas ng bawat hibla ay mumunting ligaya. Sinusuyod ang pagod, hinahawi ang lungkot. Tuwing linggo ng gabi, kapag kita ay katabi, libangan kong pagmasdan sa iyong pagkahimbing ang maamo mong mukha at lihim kong dalangin sa sino mang Diyos na gising na umagay huwag paratingin upang ikaw at ako dito sa sariling mundo ay manatiling magkasuyo. Ika-76 na pahina. Teramycin. Ganito pala ang maalagaan kapag dama ng katawan ang sakit ng kalingkingan. Hawak mo ang hiniliit ko habang nilalagyan ng teramycin at saka babalutan ng kulay dilaw na band-aid para hindi lumala. Takot ka pala sa dugo, pero di ka nag-alangang ako ay hawakan at hilumin ang munting sugat na kusa namang gagaling kahit pa di ka mag-abala. Nariyan ka at nakaagapay kahit pa sa maliliit na bagay. Ganito pala kasayang mahiwa sa takip ng dilatang Argentina corned beef. Sarap ng bakay wala kung ikukumpara sa iyong aruga. Di hamak na mas malinamnam ang iyong hawak sa aking kamay na may sugat.
Si Ponzi, tapos si Mike.
So this is my way of okay. This is going to be brief, but I would like to first start off by commending the writer for, I don't know, somehow striking a balance with the writing, the consistent writing of, and being able to strike a balance between elevated language and still making it, you know, completely simple to read. Like I don't understand all the words, but I feel like I understand it completely. Also, before I proceed, I really like the title. I think you have the best title of all the suites in terms of at least how it drew my attention and it piqued my curiosity. So that's one thing. The only thing siguro I can really comment on is the order of the pieces because there's a consistent tenderness. I feel like you started with something that was very playful, but that sort of set the tone, and then biglang anticlimactic, tender lahat. Tender, very, very heartfelt yung naging content ng the following pieces. So, feeling ko, because you have how many pieces? 8. I would have put NPNR somewhere in the middle, just to break the tone a little bit. But also with NPNR, my only issue is that I understand it because of Grindr Speak, because I used to have Grindr, but then it's a very exclusive type of communication. Not even all gay guys use Grindr. But what's good about it is that it knows its audience. It's very self-aware, so it knows who it's written for. I just don't know if the intention of you, the writer, is to allow it to be understood by those beyond the realm of Grindr. Other than that, I really like the collection. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Congratulations.
Trying to pick me.
Ayun, magandang hapon sa lahat. Yung nabasa ko yung pamagat pa lang, naalala ko agad yung tula ni Andres Bonifacio na Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang lupa. Yun lang. Tapos, ang ganda din ng pagkalaro dun sa salita ng ari kasi nga, merong mga ari bilang yung kanina rin. Tapos, pwede kasing ariin mo yung isang ari or handa ka ba ipabakod mo yung ari mo, gano'n. So, dun sa NPNR, yung pinakahuli niya, ang comment ko sa kanya, yung lokasyon or yung geografiya, parang nakasandig pa din siya sa Katolisismo. At tinitignan natin yung lalaki bilang salbasyon at kaligtasan, yung katawan niya. Doon naman sa next na tula, diba? Tapos yung talagatan ba is, ito ba ay tala ng karagatan? Parang naggawa siya ng neologism ng salita. Tapos, ayun, may mga konting words lang din na sandak sa pero... Tapos yung, binasa ko yung Icarus, naalala ko talaga yung tula dito ni Pedro Ricarte na Pag-ibig. Basta yun yung nag-pop sa utak ko, tapos linagay ko na siya dito. Ang gamo-gamo ay ang gamo-gamo ay umalik sa ningas at naging abo. Kasi sometimes, kaka-admire mo sa hindi mo naman nakukuha. Mas lalo ka lang mapapahamak. Something like that. Tapos kasi yung Icarus dito, parang ang nangyari, yung kakaano niya dun sa liwanag, bigla siyang, parang tinutokso siya ng liwanag, pero yun din yung liwanag na kailangan niya. Yung mismong papatay sa'yo, yun yung parang bumubuhay din sa'yo. Gusto ko din yung pagkagamit dun sa pulgada ng birds. Tapos dito sa Terramycin, parang nakikita mo yung sarap sa sakit. Tapos dito naman sa timpla, ang ganda rin yung pagkapamagat. Kasi doon nga yung sa kape. Pero parang normal ba yung kape na walang asukal? Di ba? Ayun. So, thank you sa collection na to. Yeah.
Hello. So, hi Pagka.
Ay my God, sorry. I'm sorry. Spaghetti kasi. Okay. Natutuwa ako sa collection na to ng mga tula sapagkat may mga nakaka-localize na mga bagay, yung mga Argentina corned beef, band-aid, telemycin. Na-appreciate ko siya kasi marami ako na-associate sa kanya ng mga experience and memories din sa akin. So, I like the integration of the technological and modern elements, such as, yun nga, yung grinder and other modern things that are happening here. I guess yung ano lang, yung for me is that, well, I admit na hindi ko talaga alam yung parang Filipino tradition in terms of writing. Pero, for example, yung sa NPNR, like, I tried, when I did remove all the line breaks, it just became very prosaic for me. Na in other poems then, it felt that the pieces were very prosaic and that so in a way, I gave a lot of stress when reading dun sa white space kasi I felt na baka napaka-importante. So parang tipong your style is really very conversational, very accessible, very engaging, and that the white space adds something to it. But at certain points, it became quite monotonous, and I was looking for something new, something more exciting that is happening with the language, with the white space, with the structure. And I guess in a way I found that to a certain extent in Teramycin. So it was long, and in a way it reminds me of the tube. So in a way it really felt fitting for me that way. So there are a lot of exciting elements that happen there. Overall, gusto ko yung I really can understand you with your poems. Like I also same with before na parang I felt that there was a very strong consistency in terms of style, in terms of tone. But I think that the flavor as well as the flair could be a bit more parang amped up, na parang something that would be more exciting and other than the exciting things that you are revealing as well. So yun lang po.
Magandang hapon po sa lahat. Hi, Steno. Yung shoemaker. Yung observation ko lang sa suite mo na Pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Hari. Sabi nga ni Ate Mariel, it's medyo 21, sorry. Medyo monotonous yung tsaka predictable yung entire collection. And then, I think na parang wala siyang something new to offer pa. Kasi parang nasabi na nga lahat ng lahat ng sinasabi or content ng mga tula dito is parang nasabi na rin, nasulat na rin in the past. So, maybe I was just looking for variety. Kahit variety na lang ng pagkakasulat, or at least may variety sa intensity, or like may patutunguhan yung yung pagkakalagay ng mga tula. And then may mga tula na parang walang tension, so just pure narrative, so walang maiiwan sa mambabasa for something para magbuni-muni after nila magbasa. Parang lang siya, pang coffee table book-ish lang siya ng mga tula na parang in just one sitting, you just wanna enjoy it, parang ganon. Pero walang mag-remain sa mind ng mambabasa. And then, na-notice ko lang na may recurring image ka ng Diyos. Like, Diyos na hindi natutulog, tapos Diyos na gising, tapos may lumikha, something like that. So, nung una ko nabasa yung line na Diyos na hindi natutulog, parang nag-play agad sa mind ko yung natutulog ba ang Diyos na kanta. So, parang, okay. And then, medyo feeling ko medyo ginamitan mo ng fancy terms yung tula mo, and then pero walang panghahawakan yung reader. Parang wala siyang central image, something like that. And then parang fleeting moment lang siya all throughout. And then yung line sa tula na Tiramisin na sarap ng baka ng Argentina, something like that. Parang nung nagbabasa ako ng tula na yun, parang naging off siya bigla pakinggan. Parang nawala yung suspension of disbelief kasi parang gano'n. And then, lastly, yung title ng tula ng Icarus. Sa pagkakaintindi ko, yung last 3 lines lang, yung parang may reference doon sa title. So parang loose yung association mo ng title sa entire content or your entire intention sa tula. Yun lang. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, Miss Venezuela. I liked Filipino poems in general, sa akin, at least personally. There's something that palagi akong enamored. Tinagalog ko lang. Palagi akong enamored sa Filipino poetry on a lot of things. No? One is because, to be honest, sa Bicol, hirap ako magsulat in Bicol. Kaya ang fallback ko palagi sa Bicol is Awudurin Konada, which is my mother's native tongue ng nanay ko. So, the suite is, I'm enamored sa suite on several instances. One of which is NPNR, for example. But it's sort of ironic, again, recalling Carlos Arrejola, the late Carlos Arrejola's poem, Tayong Mga Lalaki, sa Wala Akong Pipit na Sawi ang Puso Tuwing Naglalakbay, na libro niya bago siya namatay. He mentioned there, ang mahabang usapan ay di usapang lalaki. Sa last stanza. And it seems at the length of the poem, NPNR kasi, the fact that you put NPNR on your profile on Grindr, you wanted it to be fast. Just send me a photo, are we gonna fuck or not? Ganun lang siya kabila. So, it's sort of an ironic, but maybe that irony is beautiful, that the poem is lengthy, the emotional ganap is mahaba, the back and forth is mahaba. But then again, it sort of defeats the purpose of NPNR, ang nature ng NPNR, to shorten the conversation, kung top-bottom ka ba, gano'n. So, yung top-bottom nga walang involvement, that's very important, di ba? Parang first runner-up sa pageant, that's a very an important statement. So, NPNR as well, kung gagamitin mo sana title ng NPNR, at least from my Bicolana perspective, I would have used this to create a story of 2 men who would meet via the PNR, which is wala na, yung PNR na tren, yung Bicol Express na tren. So I would have created something out of that if NPNR yung gagamitin ko. Ibig sabihin, no PNR. So, kumot, dalawang tula lang yung dadaanan ko. Si kumot naman, I'm confused because it's apparently a motel. The setting is apparently a motel. Tama ba? Tama ba? Motel or hotel or... Feeling ko motel kasi pa 8 hours ang check-in. So walang oras akong kinupok. You wouldn't check in naman sa hotel na expensive like Sega for only 8 hours. You would do 12 hours or 24 hours. So it's I felt it's a motel. So my questions are on a lot of, for example, the choice of words on Malalagong Buhok. If the suite kasi is in your face, malandi, and Makate, I would have used bulbul. And it sort of rhymes pa sa naunang statement on nakaulol, which would make sense. Ito, salamat sa Diyos na di natutulog, walang oras tayong niyubyo ng alin. So, yun ang medyo kulang sa akin, parang that should have been established that niyugyug ko ba siya, niyugyug niya ba ako, or it's yugyugan na. So I think that's it. Sa akin, I'll give the other fellows na an opportunity to critique.
Hi, Steno. Keep, keep it pretty simple and brief. I actually had fun reading some of these poems, especially considering I can actually understand them reading. I'm not like, I have another dictionary at hand while I'm going through it. So I can appreciate that. And they're very light reads, but they're still reads that you can see yourself in, that you can appreciate in the moment, and it just happens softly. Among the suites, I found that this has one of the best consistency, throughout itself. I only had like a few two issues, both of which kind of extend from what Mariel has already said about the idea of it being almost prosy already, or going towards prose. In the sense that while I'm reading it, especially for example the first one, I'm going, oh, this is fun, just keep on going, keep on going. I enjoy it, but there's no turnings that I experience. There's no sense of revelation or sense of things being shed that I get with more traditional poetry. And maybe that stems from its prosiness, or maybe I'm just not as versed in the use of Filipino here. My second issue also kind of stems from that, in the sense that there's also a few parts where images don't really get utilized, especially with Icarus, which is my biggest complaint. Because, the image of dahil sa mundo ko ay ikaw ang liwanag, I find that so many people have already said that. The idea of even if we are hurt, we keep on going back. And the use of Icarus, while it fits that part, it's not really utilized throughout the poem, which is strange considering it's the title. So going back to what has been said, it should be anchored, and there should be that turning at the end. So some way to give it back energy in a more poetic sense. So that's my thing. I feel like it could elevate itself with more energy. It could find ways to turn in itself, and maybe occasionally less prosy.
Nice then. So what I'd like to highlight is your use of sound. I think there's a masterful way of using sound, and even if you revise it, I'd like you to keep that expertise of yours. For example, Kumot, I noticed all the end words are near rhymes, which I like because they're not exact rhymes, but they're near rhymes with a o, then a consonant kind of sound. And I think I appreciate that subtle design. And then the main problem that they say, and they do kind of feel it, is the monotony. And I'd like to make maybe suggestions about that. First is, I feel like you would benefit more if you defamiliarize the sound of the images, because we do see like yung gamo-gamo, and then a lot of the bedroom kind of images, but I think there's something to be explored in the potentiality of comparing that bedroom to something else. Like, you do have, like I like lines like, itinuro ng Kumot kung paano mamaduktot sa estasyon ng kama ko, paalon-alon. So, I think those things like shine compared to some of the other lines that may come off as cliche, I think. And like the Teramaisin, yung malinamnam is used instead of masarap, which is an interesting usage for me because it's not something you'd normally say in real life. So, but it exists in the poem, and just those turns of surprises are little charms, and I wish I saw more of those. But yeah, I really like that song-like characteristic that you implement.
Hi, Ruby. Well, I'm not sure if this is a thing to say about the connection, pero I saw this after reading it closely na this could pass as a gay version of Precious Heart's romances for the digital age.
It seems like it. And yung titles pa lang mismo ng mga tula ay they serve as almost like chapters. Kasi parang may sequence yun kung babasahin yung mga titles na. Start with MPNR. So, browsing a hookup app. And then sa Talagatan, seems like they meet there at some point. Then Unan, and then Kumot. And then nagtaka ako, nasan yung kama? And I figured, Talagatan, okay, nasa may tabing Karagatan, tanaw-tingnan sa star. So mga nasa na yun ang setting nito, ang naisip ko. And then it goes to Pulgada. This is, I think, yung center ng tula dahil being close to the person and just feeling him being present and his weight shifting with yours in spooning position. And I like na parang nag-assert ka rin ng dominance so in a way kasi ikaw yung big spoon dito. And with Icarus, nagtaka kasi parang biglang nag-shift yung tone niya. I think this would work side by side with the first poem. And gusto ko sana yung parang first half ng tula na to ay would go with the audacity and the confidence and na in-exude ni Icarus mismo. Kasi ang nakita lang part dito yung parang yung attempt niya to rise, to fly, pero nag-crash din siya with his own downfall. Terramycin is a sort of breathing, a poem na breather dun sa tenderness at saka intimacy na binigay ng previous poems. Kasi this is a scene na parang playing house, na magluluto ng almusal. And I can relate to that very much. Yung sa last poem naman, about coffee, the metaphor of it being the bitterness of the drink itself, pero the warmth that it gives to people. Parang ito ay nagbibigay ng parang papakita ng itsura ng dynamics ng relasyon with you and the guy. There's a sort of bitterness to it, but it's also kind of warm and necessary and a need siguro. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Ayun. Good afternoon, Steno. Ang ganda ng title, and I was hooked up to it. I think the only challenge or thing that I could suggest is nilagay mo yung room. You put the whole thing. The room, the bed, the wardrobe, bathroom, the floor, the chandelier kung meron, if necessary. Just to emphasize na nagsisetting ka lang talaga sa ang gaganda ng mga imahen na pwede mong magawa. Pwede mirror. Mirror po. Di ba may salamin sa ibabaw yun. We have Terramycin, so you may as well add medical kit sa loob ng kwarto. Yun. Romantic or sweet lover nga ba ang writer? That's what I'm getting more confused of. Pero dito sa loob ng sweet na ito, doon ko na confirm kung gaano ka-sweet lover nga ang isang writer. Lalo na kapag nasa LGBT na writer. Yan, the more na nagsasalita or nag-express ng emotions yung persona, the more that the address becomes more silent, and that's what makes it more gay and LGBT, para sa akin. And I like the image of the unan na braso. Yun, baklang-bakla ako doon, feeling ko. Thank you.
Hello, Steno. Hello, everyone. So I just have a few comments about the collection. What I love the most about this, apart from the language, yung lingwahe kasi nga is nagsasalit-salit siya. You have a certain way of creating a flavor kung saan nagsasalit-salit yung imas tsaka sampal. Parang may ganung feel yung there's that kind of feel coming from most of the poems in the collection. Yung akala mo okay na, hopeful na, and then there's a line or there are a few parts na masakit na biglang tumatarang sa puso. And you are equipped
it so happens you are equipped with a very fabulous way of using language to accompany that with. I've always had an inkling towards poems that sound like Filipino songs. And I mean that in the most positive way. Kasi dalawa lang naman usually yung choices. Natutunog OPM ka, pero pang Jessa Zaragoza. Or natutunog OPM ka, pero pang Basil Valdez. Mas Basil Valdez yung basa ko kay Steno. Kasi naghahalo-halo to sa hybridity ng language niya, yung iba-ibang mga salitang galing sa iba-ibang sources. May tula na may lengguwahe galing sa grinder, may tatak ng gamot, may tatak ng delata, corned beef, etc. No? And then naibalik mo sa usual parlance yung mga salita tulad ng dalistis, matatabil, ipupupo, umaalo, na lahat i-translate ko para maintindihan ko siya fully. So there's very simple language, it's very filled with tenderness. And then I don't know how to describe it fully, but there's this tendency, and I think this is a strength, yung parang the theme is very, kung isipin mo, is bordering on cliche. It's a love poem. It sounds like a love song. Pero he's able to get it across the reader in a very elegant and in a relatively new way because of the way that he makes language, or makes his language contain the message. Yung talagatan, ang ganda ng play niya between Sanlaksangkala, a constellation, yung karagatan, an ocean, and dun sa setting, naghalo yung tatlong iba-ibang forma ng kalawakan. May dagat, may langit, may hangin, may lupa dahil nasa burol. Tapos from the outdoors, nung pumasok siya sa kumot, sa unan, and ano ba yung isa? Unan, kumot, chandelier. Yung mga gamit that we usually find within the domestic sphere, yung intimacy na ino-offer ng ganong imagery in relation to how he creates a connection between sleep and vulnerability. Observing the beloved, being observed by the beloved, how one submits oneself to the beloved, hindi lang nagaganap sa pagtulog, sa pagiging walang mali, kundi pati sa pagsuko ng hiwa mo. That doesn't sound right. Ng sugat mo, ng hiwa mo. Pagsuko ng sugat mo sa gumagamot na beloved. So, yun lang. Ang ganda, the choice of intimate imagery, the bed, the blanket, tending to the wound, and then yung coffee, yung pinaghalo-halong himas, sampal, yung malakantang lengguwahe. I have nothing much to say with regard to. Siguro isang comment lang, for instance, here in Talagatan. It might be helpful if the author would take a look at the very crucial role of words that we normally take for granted. No? Like for instance, near the end of the poem, he says, dito sa burol kung saan ang marilikit na tala ay karagatang sa kalimlangin umaagos at sa damdamin umaalog. Ang ganda ng sipa ng ending. But would it have had a different meaning, for instance, if you inserted the word I? Dito sa burol kung saan ang marilikit na tala ay karagatang sa kalimlan ay umaagos. Because it seems to me that the way you put it here, karagatang sa karimlan umaagos creates an alternative space where the karagatan flows elsewhere. Or the karagatan flows elsewhere that is not the darkness. Parang may alternative tuloy siya na may ibang pwedeng pag-agusan karagatan. Whereas if you insert the word I, umaagos, parang mas nandun yung precision. Mas buo sa tingin ko yung metaphor. Pero siguro ako lang yung posibleng mali yung basa ko. So yun lang. Maraming salamat.
Yeah, I agree to all the comments. Generally, ganun din yung trajectory ng yung comment ko. Basically, ang gusto kami kanina na Eugene, pinepeg namin kung anong klaseng poem ito. This is the kilig poem. Pero hindi tumitilay yung quiet lang. Hindi katulad ng naunang poem kanina, medyo skandaloso. I mean, not in a negative sense. This one is a state of mind. Walang tension kasi it does not follow the tradition of the usual courtly love. Sa courtly love kasi, the beloved is impossible to reach, hindi makuha. So yung struggle ng lover, paano yun ma-consummate yung hindi ma-consummate. So sa poetry, sa lyrics nasabihin. Pero itong poem na to is really nako-consummate lagi. So, yung state of mind, ang tingin ko sa mga poems na to ay sinulat as an afterglow. Matapos yung hot love, yung feeling na, di ba, yung sarap pakiramdam na higa ka lang and you're relaxed. Contemplate mo yung nangyari, tapos kayakap mo yung love. Ganun lagi yung eksena. So it follows that state of mind. Kaya yung language, sumusunod din. Parang music, alliteration, walang masyadong tension. So, it's all music. In fact, magaling yung sumulat kasi yung aural imagination niya, lakas. Kaya laging, kahit ano sabihin niya, music yung lumalabas. So, pero siguro in terms of tension, kailangan aralin mabuti yung paano naging interesting. Parang kasi, alam niyo scene building. Halimbawa yung sa Argentina, kung lalagay mo ng interesting scene doon, nung nasugat, what's your first reaction? Nung nasugat yun, di ba, isusubo, the usual reaction, isusubo na. Dapat sinubo ng partner. I need to go, dali. Isipsipin niya.
Magagalit si Eugene, unsafe yun.
So, paano yung reaching eksena? Parang gano'n. Sa poetry, ang tawag doon ay conceit. Totodo mo yung although nagko-conceit na talaga siya, yung dagat ng karagatan. So, hanapan niya ng mga ganong tension somewhere. Usually yan, nilalagay sa dulo. Pag binibuild up mo yung motif sa umpisa, ganyan. Para pagdating sa dulo, parang may pasabog. Although may mga little pasabog ka na sa una. Kasi, yung technique niya, yung language niya, doon na-achieve yung poeticity kasi pinagko-combine niya yung modern and the almost cliché. Hindi siya cliché but common. Diba? Para meron siyang, magaling siya mag-combine modern, tapos malalim Tagalog. Doon na-achieve yung tension sa language. Hindi sa topic, hindi sa sound. Meron siyang kingdom of sound. Hawak mo niya. Kailangan ko lamang i-sharpen kung paano yung imagery, design, and all that. Tapos, kailangan bagong-bago. So, andun na. Kailangan ng konting push.
Ito lang itong question, natutuwa ako kasi may kilig factor. Pero ang problema kasi pero yung kilig na yun ay maaari rin maging palaki sa kagandahan ng tula. Kasi kung hanggang kilig lang, so ano na nangyayari, di ba? So some people will find it wanting, alright? But like Dr. Joey and Dr. Johan, by the way, Dr. Johan Spirit too, it's our ECR, no? Kaya nila hata siya, no? Okay, gusto ko yung the fact that the writer can shift, no? In terms of linguistic register, tone, kaya niya, no? Gusto ko yun. In fact, isa mo ito lang to, yung mga tender, pinakagusto ko, yung huli, no? Yung dalawang suki ito, yung talagatan, na explain ni Johan, tsaka yung isa, yung yung timpla. No? Kasi tender moments, di ba? How often will you find and will you read about these moments? These LGBT moments. So very affirming, okay? So yun ang gusto ko sa mga tula, no? Kaya lang, meron din akong mga comments sa iba ng mga tula. So on the one hand, you have tender poems, okay? Tender paeans to homoerotic attraction, to gay love. Pero may mga dapat na i-explore pa ng writer. For instance, yung NPNR, no? This is a very good opportunity for the writer to explore the nature of online identities, diba? And make his give his commentary on this matter, on this issue, without being didactic. Kasi ganito, parang exchange lang, di ba problema, natanggap ko yung mga sabi ng ibang mga fellows and panelists, no, naging cliche or prosy. Kasi nag-exchange lang, so ano nangyari? Diba? Asan na yung poetic insight? Asan na yung poetic technique? Ito ay parang binlag mo sa internet, matuwa ka, may nado ka, ang saya-saya, good catch, Mr. Right. So ano nangyari? Parang kulang, parang tingin ko kulang, diba? So this is an invitation to the writer to extend and to complicate the discourse. Para hindi siya dangkilig in a negative sense. Diba? Para makilig mo yung utak ko. Diba? Yung gano'n, no? Para magkaroon ng gravitas ng konti. No? Yung talaga interesting, pero siguro maaaring yung tropes further. Also, yung interesting na ginamit yung allusions, no? Yung call this, yung sa Icarus, okay? Pero, hindi ba maaaring i-push further yung paggamit ng allusion? Okay? Para i-explore. Kasi maganda yung myth ni Icarus eh. Dito ginawa mong gay. Diba? Bigyan mo siya ng gay version, ng gay element. Diba? Because you want to fly. You want to, you're willing to, for your wings to get burned, blah, 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 for what? Right? So, pero paano gagawin? Paano i-explore yun? So tingin ko yung maaaring bigyan ng atensyon ng poet. Yung Pulgada, tuwa sa title. Kasi naughty yung title, di ba? Pulgada. Alam mo, parang porn movie. Inches, right? And yet, the author, yeah, kaya on the one hand, kung makati ka, okay, you will feel disappointed, no? Pero ako gusto ko siya kasi, it's not the length, di ba? But the distance, that intimacy, but how, intimacy collapses distance, right? Yun yung gusto ko dito sa tulang ito. Pero, so, ano siya, no? May magandang elemento yung mga tula, no? May lyricism, may mga parte na magandang lingwahe, pero siguro kailangan din natin lagyan pa ng mga metapora, ng mga tropes, dagdagan ng diskurso, okay, at palalimin, no, yung experience ng homoeroticism or gay affection or love beyond the cliche. At the very least, guard against the cliche. Yun siguro ang yes.
Ako naman, guess na kayo Eugene Garcia, pinagdigan ko siya, nabuto siya. Kasi, sabihin mo na, para tapos na, nantok ako. Actually, I put on the shades kanina kasi I was really, alright. How do we begin? I think that the monotony that was sort of mentioned kanina is really not monotony so much as stasis. And we are looking for movement rather than stasis because we are given the expectation that these poems are not just a suite, but actually a sequence. Meaning that there is a story that collectively builds from the first to the last poem, and this is just probably representative bits from that longer suite sequence, no? And while it's correct that courtly love was the sort of origin of the lyric sequence, you have Petrarch, the origin of the sonnet actually, the first sonnet was the Petrarchan sonnet. It was a collection of 366 amatory poems, lyrics really. All of them love poems about unrequited affection for a woman that the sonneteer just saw walking on the street one day, and nakita lang naman sa kanya yung ankle niya. No, the poet espied the ankle of this beautiful woman, and then was able to produce 366 poems. Okay, all of the poems about unrequited love. But that's not the model to follow for, I think, the kind of sequence that you might want to consider, Steno. I'm not sure. I think you're doing a sequence eh. Kasi LPNR is the initial moment. Nakita sila. They met, the hookup was online. And then, nag-unfold yung relationship, no? Which gives us hope that, you know, something originating pala from an online encounter can actually be serious. So that makes it millennial, that makes it nice and relatable to the young people, no? And also to some older people who are actually have Grindr accounts, and we know who you are. And passing yourselves off as younger than you are. But no, it's fine because there's a market for everyone. It's a democracy of desire. You don't have to be, you don't have to hide your age because marami naghahanap ng daddies. So, mga silver foxes. So dami. Actually, you have to fend them off na nga. All these kids, you know, want sponsors. I think that's a polite term. So if in this sequence, Steno, I'm suggesting that you study Shakespeare. Because the sonnets of Shakespeare actually collectively tell a story. And there is so much movement in the sequence of Shakespeare because there's a plot. He was really a playwright, right, who actually wrote wonderful poetry on the side. But there's a plot, no? So in the beginning, the sonneteer has been commissioned by the parents of a rich boy, right? Aristocratic family, to convince through poetry their son to get married. And so the first few poems are about the sonneteer flattering the boy, get married because your beauty will die with you if you don't reproduce. And then, soon enough, he falls in love with him. Right? And said suddenly, now the appeal is, marry me or love me because I am an artist and I can immortalize you in my verse. And then many poems na parang ganito, na parang naging stasis ng konti. Kasi basically declaring his love until the arrival of the rival poet. There is another poet who's also flirting with a man. Right? And so, jealousy naman. Tapos, meron Dark Lady, who's the girlfriend of the sonneteer, who apparently also had an affair with a boy. Right? So, talagang parang siyang melodrama in a way, no? Parang telenovela. But all of them are poems. And you can actually, I think basically, if you look at the contemporary example, the best one is Louise Glick. All her books are actually lyric sequences, right? You see that for poets who actually are frustrated novelists, this is the best form to choose. Because a lyric sequence is a lyric poem in extenso. Meaning it's actually one long poem with many little poems inside. So there's a paradox in the lyric sequence form because is it one poem or many poems? Is it continuous or discontinuous? I read your NPNR, nung sabi pa sigaw ng Alleluia, obviously hindi siya tapos. Diba? So, biglang talaga na yung susunod, nasa burol na sila, nagde-date na sila. I was really following it. And siguro, ang stasis is that basically, wala pa nangyayari, Steno. I'm sure may conflict na. The most dramatic episode here after the NPM Alleluia is really the nasugatan with the Argentina corned beef sort of thing, diba? Everything else is moonlight and stardust, at parang in love ka, diba? Which is fine, because love has those sort of, yes, ecstatic moments. But we know if you've been in any relationship, that love is not really, contrary to one poem in that sonnet by Shakespeare, in that sequence by Shakespeare, love is never constant. Meaning, if you are committed to someone, you're in a relationship with someone, there are movements inside love, right? There are moments of doubt, moments of insecurity, moments of jealousy, moments of anger, disaffection sometimes, right? Betrayal,
it can be like a play. It can be like a novel. You can have episodes inside love, right? And so we would like that to be the basics, I think, the project, if it's possible, Steno. If the relationship is still ongoing anyway, talaga wala na, dissolve the distinction between persona and author, okay? It seems it's confessional anyway, Steno, there's that. No? I'm sorry, the signals are here. No? It's the I is sustained from beginning to end. There are details that are authentic, like the NPNR, talagang mukhang nanggaling yan talaga sa online, yung nasugatan ng delata, talagang nangyayari. Yung mga medyo peke sounding, yung mga nagpo-poeticize, parang kape, ako ikaw, ako si tubig na mainit, buti nagdikit tayo, which I don't really necessarily like kasi hindi naman dumidikit ang kape sa tubig. Okay? Oo, nagdi-dissipate siya, nagdi-dissolve siya. But you wouldn't want that naman kasi parang nawawala ng substance yung isa, parang ikaw yung dominant, ikaw yung flu, ikaw yung... It's hard to actually tulaan ng... Okay, another tendency you have to guard yourself against is to look for metaphors all the time. Sometimes just have a story. Now, huwag ka na maghanap ng parang, what do you call that, an extended metaphor or a conceit na parang lagi na lang gano'n, na parang mag-commit ka dyan, yan lang siya. Pwedeng kwento, maganda yung NPNR mo kasi nagkwento ka lang eh. Sana may ganung moment na parang nag-iiba yung, kasi na-overwhelm tayo ng poetic na Stardust and Moonlight, na paulit-ulit siya, di ba? Na talagang may ecstatic moment naman ng love, di ba? Pero maraming moments ng love eh. So I would like those moments to be honored in a collection about love. Gay love, no? It's hard to sustain any relationship in the LGBTQ community in the Philippines because we don't have institutional support. Right? There's no contract to sign that will actually guarantee, that will actually entrap us, di ba? Into a relationship where we are doomed, you know, more or less, with no escape, no divorce, right? But no, I'm kidding. But I mean, it's hard. Walang family support, di ba? Mahirap. Well, basahin mo yung kwento ni Ino Manalo, yung nagpapakiramdaman. I think in Led 3, di ba? Yung partner niya ikakasal, anniversary ng magulang, silver anniversary. Tapos siya, yung long-time partner ng son, hindi niya alam yung posisyon niya sa pamilya na yan. So, lahat ng pakiramdaman lang, hindi alam, pinaplano nila yung anniversary, hindi niya alam kung ano yung magiging posisyon niya sa picture taking, sa actual presidential table, saan siya uupo, right? Kulang ng support na gano'n for our relationships eh. And well, hindi mo siya binanggit dito kasi ito lang yung parang ecstatic moments. No? So talk about the difficulties of keeping a relationship, right? So it becomes not just a love sequence, but actually a relationship sequence, which can actually probably be more relatable to more people. No? And even straight people would be able to relate kasi gano'n din naman ang sitwasyon nila. Pag nasa relasyon ka, kasi hodang babae, lalaki ka relasyon, may problema, may mga magiging obstacles yan. Hindi pwedeng constant lang yan. No? That's a myth, no? That love is constant and does not change. It changes. Day to day, actually. Alright? And commitment is something else, in a way, right? So, yes. So, I have so, meron din akong problema na dun sa language, actually, parang may mga mannerisms na that you may need to guard yourself against or be a little more wary of. But otherwise, I think if your project now becomes clearer in your head, then it should be easier to flesh it out, the whole project. So good luck to you, and thank you for letting us read. Your self-disclosure rate is very low, very high. Sorry. So dito, weirdly enough, meron din. So, tuloy mo lang siya. Disclose and disclose. Maraming tula.
I will.
Alright. Thank you.
Sorry, Jing.
Yeah, Junji na pala. Sorry.
Hello, Stan. Ano lang, background lang para sa lahat, no? Malapit na lumabas ang nobela ni Steno. Kanyang young adult novel na may temang LGBT. Ang ganda-ganda ng pagkakasulat at unanimous ang decision namin na ikaw ang manalo. Ngayon ay nasa tula ka. So yan ang ating
Pag-compare, nabasa mo pareho.
Pareho kong nabasa.
So ano ang difference nila?
Mas mahusay kang fictionist.
Ay.
Di
Okay
hama.
lang yun. Next year, fiction naman eh. Okay,
Pwede ko mo.
I don't write in
Pwede
the
ko
rules,
mo.
walang
Dito
repeat
ka
perform,
ulit.
walang second timer.
Pwede sit in.
Sit in.
Pwede sit in.
At panel.
Pwede rin, kung lumabas
Oo.
yung output mo, why not?
Ayun.
Yes, pa.
Una-una, kailangan itong hatiin, no? Dahil sariwang-sariwa ang mga tula mo kahit na pamilyar ang mga pinapaksa. No? Pinabata mo ang puso ng mga mambabasa, no? Pinakilig mo kami at ibinalik mo kami sa pagkabata. No? Yung bata, ibig sabihin bata yung bagong graduate. No? So, kaming mga tumatanda na, no? Pinabata mo yung pakiramdam namin. Nagustuhan ko ang iyong proyekto na ine-extend mo o binabata mo yung mga idiomang Pilipino. No? Halimbawa yung paano mamaluktot mula sa kumot ito no? Pati itong sakit ng kalingkingan mula sa idioma na ang sakit ng kalingkingan ay lamdam ng buong katawan. No? Tuwang-tuwa ako na ganito yung proyekto mo na ginagawa na ini-incorporate mo no, sa iyong mga tula. Naibigan ko ang iyong koleksyon no? Dahil isa ito sa mga koleksyon na nagpakita ng kontemporaryong urban na kultura ng bakla. No, na hindi ko nahanap sa iba pang mga entry no, para sa workshop na ito. At naibigan ko rin ang iyong ang gamit mo ng wikang popular no, na malaking tulong para mahikayat mo ang mga mababasa na hindi matakot sa tula. No? Nagustuhan ko rin sinabi ng iba yung obserbasyon ng iba na yung paraan mo ng pagtula no, ay baka meron kang talento no, na pwede kang sumulat ng titik para sa mga awitin. No? Hindi masama yun. No? Baka nandoon ang talento mo. No? At nakita ko naman no, na may potential ka no, sa pagsulat ng mga ito. Ngayon, isa-isahin ko. No? Dito sa unang mong tula, ang hirap pa rito nung medyo hulihan ka na nagkasalita para inuwi mo na sinabi ng iba. No? Nakita ko yung yung eksena, no? Pero hinahanapan ko ito ng progreso, no? At tulad na sinabi ni Dr. Baitan, napakalakas ng tulang ito para napakalaki ng potential ng tulang ito para bigyan mo ng pagsusuri. Ano ba ang kontemporanyo kultura ng bakla sa online community, no? Ang dami, kaya-kaya mo niyang suriin, no? So, kung ito yung una mong tula, baka pwede pa itong mag-anak ng 3 tula. No? Potential yun, no? Kasi yun ang hinahanap namin, no? Naghahanap kami nang wala dito, no? Pasensya na, no? Pero, hamon din ito sa'yo, no? Na buuin mo ang iyong koleksyon. Tatlong tula ang pwede mag-anak dito. Sa pangalawang tula na talagatan, inimento mo ito, natanong kita kahapon, no? Pero, ang hindi mo alam, merong salitang Tagalog o Filipino para sa konstelasyon. At ito ay talampad. Talampad. Mula ito sa, na-discovery ko ang talampad sa librong Palatik ni Dante Ambrosio na pinabish ng UP Press. No? Napakagandang libro no, tungkol sa etno-astronomiya no, ng Pilipinas. No? So, kung di ko binasa yun, di ko malalaman din yung ibig sabihin ng talampad. No? So, imbis mag-invento ka, no, gamitin natin itong salitang talampad. Dito, no, meron kang mga salita no, na halimbawa yung cornea, baka pwede mong palitan. No? Kasi ito yung, no, kadalasang kasalanan ng mga manunulat. Pag wala tayong balint na tao, nakalagay yung balint na tao. No? Kasalanan na kapag nasa English, gawin mo lang K para maging Pilipino. No? Kailangan natin ng diksyonaryo, paminsan-minsan, no? At meron tayong online dictionary, no? Sa yung dictionaryo.ph ng Komisyon sa Wikang Filipino, no? Kung di natin kaya bumili ng makapal na UP Dictionary ng Filipino. Sa pangatlong tula, no? Ito, no? Tinikman ang asim at alat ng laman. Ay, ano yung kinain mo na? No? Siguro ba ako balat? No? Okay, no? Dito rin, naghahanap ako ng detalye sa gitnang mga taludtod. Tapos itong habang himbing sa hikaan at braso ang iyong unan, O, tignan, magandang picturean, no? Ginawa mong una ng braso. Pero sa pelikula lang ito nagaganap. No? Sa totoong buhay, ang sakit niyan. Ano? Kahit na napaka-tender, no, ng moment, nakakangawin, di talagang itatapon mo na rin yung tao, no, sa sakit. Sa kalamnan. Siguro unang minuto okay pa no? Pero habang tumatagal, ang sakit na niyan. Itong pulgada gustong-gusto ko, no? Dahil nga, mapaglaro no? Yung, bibigyan mo kami ng paagawan ng aming atensyon, tapos pagbasa namin, ay, hindi pala ito yung pulgada. Iniisip ko, no? At gusto ko rin yung yung detalye ng 3 pulgada, agbuhat ng mga puso, iisa ang ibo. Ang ganda, no? Nasukat mo ba yung pulgada na yun kapag nakasandal sa yung dibdib?
Pinansya ko lang.
Tansya mo lang.
From heart to heart. Kasi
Heart to
yung
heart.
ribs and yung...
Hindi apat, hindi
More than that.
Oo, kasi
3 inches lang.
Ganyan lang.
No, that's not true. The heart is probably 4 inches down here. From the topmost point of the sternum.
8. Ayun, 8 pulgada. Mas maganda. At pwede bang Steno yun ang pamagat mo? 8 pulgada. So, ay gusto ko yan, 8 pulgada. So, mabasa mo, ay hindi pala yun yung 8 pulgada. Bigyan natin 8 para maano yung mga size. Para ma-excite. Tapos Steno, itong susunod mong tula, na ako, no? Ba't mo dinevelop itong griyegong mito, pero mas na-develop itong gamo-gamo sa imahe, no? So, bakit pwede mong alisin na yung Greek na to, yung allusion Grego, at palit mo ng gamo-gamo. Terramycin, okay? Hindi hilumi ng sugat, no? Pag nalagay ka ng band-aid, hindi hilum agad yun. Siguro maampak ang dugo. No? Maampat ang dugo ng no? Hindi yung hilom agad kasi hindi ganun kabilis ang paghihilom ng sugat. No? Matagal yung proseso ng paghihilom. No? Dito sa timpla, no? Yung butil, hindi lang isang butil ito, maraming butil ito, so mga butil ng Arabica, at hindi pinatigang, ang butil ng kape ay hindi pinatitigang kung hindi pinatutuyo. No?
Tinutusta.
Tuyo muna bago itustahin at tinurog, hindi tinurog, giniling, no? So, tamang gamit ng mga salita, no? Ito, sa apoy tayo'y napasok. Hindi ito napasok, makumulo, no? Kasi pag napasok, di pa napapasok ang tubig, no? Nakumukulo ang tubig, umiinit ang tubig, no? At tasang puno ng pait, mas maganda siguro kung apaw.
Wala nang natira. In other words, you're saying mali.
Mali ang gamit ng salita. Yun, no?
Pero
So,
yung choice din na metaphor na love, ako ikaw yung kape, ako yung tubig. It's awkward to begin with, from the beginning. Diba? Kasi parang hindi comparable if solid, dry and wet, tapos powder and liquid. Ang hirap, hindi erotic. Diba? Powder.
Hindi kumpara.
But ang gusto niya sabihin is, but together, we are, masarap tayo. Pag pinagsama, pero hindi mo siya pwede extend yung metaphor, magiging corny siya. Kasi yun yung naging conceit siya na parang i-extend na natin kung ano.
tutuloy ko lang, no?
Sorry.
So, hawak ni Steno ang wika, pero kailangan mo rin bantayan ang disiplina sa pagtula, no? Unang-una, ang dami ko dito mga notes tungkol sa paghahati mo ng mga salita, no? Bawal na bawal sa pagtula na pinuputol mo yung mga taluktot sa saat ng, no? Sa mga sakit ng mga estudyante. Pangalawa, ingatan mo, no? Ito, pag-ingatan mo ito, no? Yung paggamit ng mga gasgas na mga imahen at gasgas na paraan ng pagpapahayag, no? Nasabi kanina na pwede kang sumulat pa na Basil Valdez, nasabi ni Dr. Espiritu, no? Pero may tendensiya kasi na ang mga tula mo ay malapit na mahulog, no, sa pagiging gasgas o cliche. Pangatlo, no, yung tamang gamit ng mga salita at tamang paraan ng pagtutugma. Hindi naman sa mali ang mga pagtutugma mo, pero napansin ko, pinagtutugma ka, puro an. No? Meron sa Tagalog tradition, dito Dr. Pakira, meron tulang tugmang malakas at tugmang mahina, baka pwede kita bigyan ng ng code dyan kung ano ba ang mga tugma ng AN, ANG, no? BK,
Mga magaspang, BDG,
BK, baka tagapusit. Diba? Laman ng waray, LNNNGWRY. So, Steno, no, pag mo yun, na-memorize mo yun at nagamit mo yun, mas winner, no, ang pagtutugma mo. No, pagka matigil mo ito, tradisyonal na tula, ito ay nasa malayang taluturan. Kapag alam mong yung mga kombinasyon ng mga tunog, no, kahit hindi puro AN, no, mas lalo pang lalawak, no, yung paraan mo, yung universo mo ng pagtutugma. Okay, hindi mo kahit hindi ka maglira, nabasahin mo lang yung talutod at talinghaga, no?
Kami na rin ang lira.
Sige, sumali ka, Steno, kung may oras ka, no?
Sir, ano po yung talutod?
Talutod at talinghaga.
Real na.
Feeling na nakatulong pagtula until 1990.
At Steno, isa lang, mag-iiwan ako kay Steno ng isang tanong. Steno, ano ba ang mga binabasa mong mga aklat ng tula? Pwede mo sagutin mamaya.
Kaya ako sabi ko, wala nang tayo.
Okay, 15 minutes pa.
30 minutes.
You have 10 minutes.
Oo. Tatlo lang yung point ko, no? Yung, gusto ko yung the whole collection, no? Kasi nga yung pagiging simple, no? Pero ang pinakaayaw ko ay yung pamagat, yung pag-ibig sa Tinubuang Ari. Kasi masyado siyang scandalous, no? For the collection.
Ikaw pa, ako na scandalous.
Kasi ako, babaeng Pilipina.
Palimutan mo yung manifesto mo nung first day.
Sabi ko lang yun, totoo talaga, conservative ako. Kasi wala siya hindi siya earned ng collection. Masyado siyang calling attention to itself, no, yung pamagat. No, na pwede namang, siguro may ibang tula pa, no, na kasing lakas nung dating, no? So,
8.
ayun, pag may 8 pulgada, baka pwede, no? So, yung NPNR, buti nabanggit yung trend, no? Kasi yun talaga lang iniisip ko lang, hindi ko pa nababasa, no, yung trend. Yung gusto ko dito, kasi parang yung NPNR, parang ito yung realisasyon, no, ng gay poem, no, in Filipino, na kasi naniwala kasi ako na pag-develop natin yung Filipino bilang wikang pambansa, dapat kasali dun yung gay linggo, no? At ito yung tipo na pwede mag-contribute, no? Ito yung vocabulary niya, no? So, maganda rin yung pag-halo-halo, no? Parang chop suey siya na merong gumamit siya ng parang kasabihan, no? Pero at the same time, marami siyang ginamit pati sa popular culture, no? Like, ikaw ba si Mr. Right? Si Sheryl Cruz ba ito? Kasi Sheryl Cruz na, sorry, Sheryl Cruz ako. Oh my God, gusto ko sana sabihin na, in my 20s na ako, hindi pwede.
Kasi carbon date ka.
Kasi carbon dating, no? Anyway, sabi kasi ni Johan, parang bago-bago stop, pero ako talaga, parang, hindi nga, parang Sheryl Cruz siya, no? Yung Mr. Dream Boy, no? Na ano, no? So yeah, Kim Chu nga pala. At magkamukha kayo ni Kim Chu yung title. So yun, bakla siya, no? Kaya yun talaga yung nakikita kong yung yung kagandahan ng collection ay yun, makakasali yung gay linggo, no, sa pagbuo ng wikang pambansa. Especially pag-Augusto na tayo next week. No? So yun, sa tula, gusto ko na siya, hindi ako bothered na parang prosaic, no? Kasi may dalawa namang uri ng pagtula. No? Yung isa, yung nag-rely sa poetic language, metaphorical language, no? Pero di pwede namang heightened language. No? And this one, no? Heightened naman siya. Yung ayaw ko lang yung Alleluia sa dulo, no? Kasi yung location, di ba, nasabi ng lot mo ay ipadala na pasigaw ng Alleluia. Mas gusto ko sana yung, kasi yung Alleluia, parang, yun ang na-expect natin. At yun yung gusto talaga natin mangyari, no? Kasi mangyari. Pero bakit nila pala, no? Kasi it turned out pala, no? Poser talaga yun at pwedeng kapatid o tatay niya, di ba, yung panakausap. Pero yung mga nangyari, ganyan weird, no? So, gusto ko sana may ganong angle, no? Para
parang mas bongga siya. No? So yun, no? Yung cornea, so balita tao pala. No? So, nag-arrive siya sa Iligay nung nakalimut tao. Yung tendency lang, no, gusto ko lang tingnan yung terramycin, saka yung timpla, yung tendency ni Steno na maging redundant. Halimbawa, no, sa huling bahagi ng terramycin, merong sarap ng bakay wala kung ikukumpara sa iyong aruga. Para sa akin, yun na dapat, no? Pero, in-extend pa niya. Sabi niya, di hamak na mas malinamnam ang iyong hawak sa aking kamay na may sugat. Yun, explanation yun ng previous sentence. No? So, mamili ka. No? So, parang maganda actually. No? So, piliin mo kung ano yung gusto mo. Kasi, sa timpla, may ganyan din yung pang-apat na linya. No? Walang forma, walang hubog. Ba parang may ibig sabihin nun? No? Forma and hubog are the same. So, mamili ka lang dyan. No? Pero, yun nga, hindi naman totoo na walang forma yung tubig. No? Siguro walang lasa, pero lasang tubig, no? Lasa pa rin yun, no? So, forget this corny, itapon na yan, no? So, mukhang hopeless, no? So, oo, no, di ba? Kasi ang magulo siya, no? So, yun, yung tendency mo na maging redundant, and then yung tendency din na gumamit ng mga cliche. So, makikita mo yun pag ikaw mismo binabalikan mo yung tula mo.
Within 5 minutes pa. Pwede pa
Ang
1
author.
point. 4 minutes. Wala na. Going. Gaan pa sasalita na natin si Steno.
May video pa rin.
Ay, nirecord ko lang. Maraming salamat po sa lahat po ng sinabi ninyo. May mabit overwhelmed. Hindi ko lang sa paano magsisimula. Ang sasabihin ko na lang kung paano ko binuo itong koleksyon ng ating tula. Kasi ang layunin ko talaga sa pagsali sa palihang ito ay para magamit ang isang tula o mga tula na pwedeng nandito na o bubuuin ko pa lang at maisama sa isang kwento o nobela na bubuuin ko pa lang. Yun talaga ang layunin ko na gumamit ng tula bilang sentro ng isang nobela. Tula o mga tula. Totoo na pinilit ko magkaroon ng sequence itong collection ko. Pero ang totoo, ginawa ko itong mga tulang to. Magkakaiba ng time frame, magkakaiba ng inspirasyon, magkakaiba ng lalaki.
Wow,
ay, ano ba ba? Totoo na mahina ako dun sa technical na aspeto ng paggawa ng tula dahil sa totoo lang, ngayon pa lang ako nagsisimulang madula. At inaaral ko pa lang yung mga technique, mga estilo sa pagsusulat. Sa tanong ni Sir Eugene kung ano yung mga binabasa kong libro ng tula, sa totoo lang, napakakonti. Yung ladlad, yung likaan, yung oranges and lemon. Ayun, napakakonti. Tapos kung meron lang, nag-google lang ako ng tula. Yun, may masagasaan lang ako. Ganun. Kung bakit prosaic, bordering on the prosaic at kung bakit wala masyadong tension, wala masyadong conflict. Kasi isa din sa mga layunin ko sa pagsusulat ng tula ay gusto ko puro positibo lang. Ayoko nung negatibo. Kasi kapag nanonood ako o nakakabasa ng mga kwentong pang-bakla o pang-LGBT, laging tragic ang ending. Parang naisip ko, halimbawa, yun ang pinakahuli, yung Call Me By Your Name. Tragic pa rin. Love of Siam, tragic pa rin. Yung Antonio, tragic pa rin. Parang wala bang karapatang lumigay ng mga bakla? Kamang gano'n. Diba? Kaya sabi ko, ako, parang sa sarili ko, sa pagsusulat man lang ng mga kwento ko o tula, diba? Maging happy ending na lang, masaya man lang. Diba? Ako, kung hindi ko man makamit yung happy ending sa totoong buhay, at least man lang sa mga likha ko, meron akong happy ending. Yun man lang, pakonsuelo ko sa sarili.
Di ba 700 lang?
Ha?
Happy ending.
Hindi ko alam. Hindi ko alam. Good.
Ang cheap, 700 lang.
May one time.
Ayun, napakaraming puntos. Nagpapasalamat talaga ako dahil napakarami kong napulot. At sa tingin ko, pwede na ako umuwi kasi nakukulat ako. Joke lang! Joke lang! Biro lang, biro lang. May susulat pa akong tula para bukas. Yun, maraming salamat po sa inyo. Sa ating tagapanood.
Siyempre magkikita ulit tayo bukas, no? Bukas na
Ano nyo, homework nyo.
homework gawin. So meron pa tayong 2 araw. Exciting bukas, huwag kayong mawawala. Bukas ng gabi.
No, I think Francis, can you...
Si Francis may ask.
Mike will have...
Ayan, a couple of things lang. Kung pwede nyo lang buksan inyong workshop kit, so may physical copy, meron ng correction para sa tula or para sa suite ni Maki. Sa page 107, poem number 7, yung title niyan ay Rako Lamok sa Dulum. Tama ba, Maki? And then in translation, Lots of Mosquitoes in the Dark. Rako Lamok sa Dulum, Lots of Mosquitoes in the Dark.
Yan yung title?
Yan yung title.
About with the design. Yung talagang title. O sino nakianak yung pancho?
Yung layout designer.
O talaga?
Na-confuse siya. Actually, pinadala na to before ni Maki, pinaayos ko, pero...
There's lots of mosquitoes.
Yeah, lots of mosquitoes in the dark.
In the dark.
And then yung poem number 8, yung title niya ay Patio. Yung translation, Cemetery. Page 108. So yung saksi ang dulong is actually the first line of the poem. We will also print out kung para to class to the discussion tomorrow, we'll print out copies for everyone ng pages para malinaw. And then we will also revise the PDF. No? So para, pati kay Alfonso na babaguhin natin para meron pa muna natin perfect copy of it. Anyway, for tomorrow's our last day. So we only have 3, last day of the workshop proper, pero meron pang Friday. Pero for tomorrow we have 3 suites, and then in the afternoon we have, as I said, after the last session, a photo shoot. I don't know if Benji has already chosen again. Okay, he's still looking for a place. But the workshop shirts are already here. We can distribute them later, and we'll just have to sort out yung sizes. And then I emailed you about the fellowship night, the graduation program. So reiterate ko lang na as is the tradition in UP writers workshops anyway, the fellows are expected to make a brief presentation. What that presentation is, kayo nang bahala, but usually what fellows do is incorporate experiences from the workshop. So if you want to ask for suggestions, I can give you suggestions, pero later na lang. And then another aspect is, usually there is one of the fellows will deliver a kind of response or thank you from everyone. So choose na lang who your representative is going to be. And then after the program, we hand out your certificates, we have dinner, and then at 9 p.m., sir? Past 9, no? We will have our off-campus activity, which...
O-bar.
Yun lang, as I mentioned in the email, we will do Grab. So, parang buddy system na lang, no? When we do go there, para walang maiwan. Kasi, may mga naiiwan, no, sa mga lakad, and you would think it wouldn't happen. Yeah.
Basta pagkatapos yung bar, bahala kayo bumalik dito.
Ay, gano'n?
Oo, kanya-kanya mga gimmick pa kayo, bahala kayo.
But yeah, yun lang. And then sa Friday, They will serve breakfast, but that's it. So 12 noon is our checkout. So breakfast na lang, and then I guess for lunch, kayo na.
When is the stipend coming? Or reimbursement for travel?
Yung stipend, sir, kanina sinabmit ng umaga yung voucher for the stipend. So sabi ni Mike, he will focus on it with the accounting office. Yung travel, kanina lang binigay. So I'm not sure that can be processed as quickly. But we will keep you up to date. Those with land bank accounts, it will just be deposited there. Those without, it will come in the form of a check. So, kung hindi kayo, if you're not here regularly in Metro Manila, we will ask you to leave an authorization letter na lang. So we can get it for you and then deposit it to your bank account, which we already have naman. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for... I think dinner will be served at 6 as usual, so you have like an hour